Pogba unhappy at United. Mesut Ozil has a new club. World Cup 2022 qualification groups are confirmed. Millwall to show solidarity and a transfer roundup, all coming up in today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. First up, Paul Pogba's agent Mino Raiola has come out saying that the player is unhappy at Manchester United and it's time for him to leave. I mean, are we surprised? A transfer window is right around the corner, so of course he's going to appear out of the mist, causing trouble. So he has spoken to Tuttosport and he has said that the player cannot express himself on the pitch like he wants to. He's unhappy, he shouldn't be at the club anymore, and he needs a change of scenery. Now, I have got a lot of issues with this, I will be honest. I mean, every time a transfer window crops up, so does this guy, and enough is enough with all of the drama and all of the troublemaking. Now, you can sit and argue all day about Paul Pogba. On one hand, he is a very, very talented footballer. We see it with the French national team. But on the other hand, I think it is safe to say that he has underwhelmed at Manchester United. I mean, you can argue that maybe it's down to Solskjaer, maybe it's down to the players around him, etc., etc. Whatever the argument is, he's not performed at the level that everybody expected him to. Now, maybe Bruno Fernandes is the reason why his agent has said that he's not able to perform and express himself in the way that he would like, because to be honest, Bruno Fernandes has done more in 10 months for Manchester United than Pogba has since his return in 2016. You can understand why people can maybe argue that he is a little bit overrated. You can also argue why people think he's such an amazing player, but at the end of the day, I don't think this is necessarily Paul Pogba being unhappy. I think this is more Manchester United being unhappy, because if you look at the season so far, Pogba hasn't really played that much. Yes, he did have an injury, but it wasn't a massive one, and he's been more on the bench than he has in the starting lineup. You know, you look at last week and yes, he did come on, but normally Solskjaer has been playing with the likes of Scott McTominay and Fred instead of Pogba, and that does speak volumes. Yes, he did come on last weekend and he scored a brilliant goal, but this does show that maybe Manchester United are not loving him completely, and that's why he's been on the bench so much. And maybe Raiola is trying to change the narrative of this one and isn't trying to say that Manchester United are unhappy with Pogba, but Pogba is unhappy with Manchester United. Now, the main question is, of course, where will Pogba go if he leaves Manchester United? Now, you could argue maybe to PSG, a return to France, maybe Real Madrid as they've got the Zidane link. The agent did speak about Juventus, saying that he still has a really good relationship with some of his old teammates. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but you guys let me know in the comment section below where you think Pogba should be going. Now, the agent did also speak about a certain Erling Haaland at Dortmund, and he was pretty shy. He didn't give too much away. He did say that he knows there is interest from Real Madrid, but he said that Haaland wants to win the Champions League. Whether he will be able to do this or not with Dortmund, we will have to just wait and see on this one. And next up, Mesut Ozil. It looks like he has finally got a new club. Now, he is, of course, the highest paid player on Arsenal's books for £350,000 a week. But as we all know, he has been frozen out by Arteta. However, Fenerbahce club official has come out and said that the player is 90% likely to be joining them in January. Now, it has obviously not been easy for the player. On one hand, you can say that, you know, him being frozen out of Arsenal is just one of those things that happens. Arteta did what he had to do, because at the end of the day, he clearly doesn't fit into the midfield anymore and he is not the answer to Arsenal's midfield problems. However, other people can also say freezing him out was pretty harsh. He could have at least still been used coming off the bench. But at the end of the day, it's clearly not worked out, and I think this is just the best decision for everybody. Nobody likes to see a good player just being left to their own devices, not even being involved in any games, and that's what's happened with Ozil. He has had some success in the past. He has still managed to show moments of greatness last season, but you know, it's just the end of the road with Arsenal, but it is great that he's getting another chance at playing some good football. He's only 32, he's not completely over the hill, we shouldn't completely write him off. So if he gets his fitness right, who knows, this could be a really great opportunity for him to be back playing some good football. Now turning our attention to the World Cup in 2022, and the qualification groups for European teams have been released. Now, we've not even had the Euros yet, of course, but people are already getting excited for Qatar 2022. So let's take a look at some of these groups. So England got what you could say is a pretty easy group, as they will play Poland, Hungary, Albania, Andorra and San Marino. For some reason it seems like England is always playing San Marino, very bizarre. Then if we go and look at Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo's team, who of course won the Euros last time around, they will be facing the likes of Serbia, Republic of Ireland, Luxembourg and Azerbaijan. Now looking at Portugal's neighbours Spain, their biggest opponent will be Sweden. Looking at the World Cup holders France, their biggest opponent will be Ukraine. So it's looking like those two teams will probably glide through no problem. Now there will be 2 or 3 qualifiers played towards the end of March 2021. This is of course before the Euros, and I'll be honest, looking at most of these groups, there's no group of death. It doesn't seem like there's going to be any major issues. It looks like the big teams that you would expect to qualify will just glide through no problem. However, we've seen it done before, so who knows, 1 or 2 nations may surprise us and get qualification. Next up, and I'm sure everybody has heard the story of Millwall against Derby in the Championship over the weekend. For those of you who don't know, I'll give you a quick refresher. Now, Millwall is in South East London, so of course, due to the restrictions in the UK, some fans were allowed back into the stadium. Now, when the players took the knee to show solidarity against racism, boos could be heard throughout the stadium. Numerous people from both clubs have come out to show their dismay and disgust, from Millwall players to people at Derby such as Wayne Rooney. So with this in mind, Millwall have a plan for their next game against QPR. What they're going to do is, in order to show solidarity, they're going to have the QPR and the Millwall players all standing on the pitch linking arms. And the teams will also hold a banner to show their solidarity and commitment in the fight against racism. Millwall are hoping that this is something that they will then be able to use with other visiting teams, and is to kind of gather the community and show that they do support this cause. Now, the FA are investigating this one, but the Foreign Officer has said that he doesn't think fans will face any charges or any action over the booing, but this is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, the Millwall Supporters Club have come out saying that the reason the fans were booing was not because they were booing the players, but they're booing the Black Lives Matter movement, and they don't believe in some of the beliefs of this movement. Now, at the end of the day, whatever your beliefs are of the movement, which is going on away from the football pitch, this is about racism in football, and all these fans have done have made their own players feel like they don't support them. And as a football fan, is that what you want your players to think? Absolutely not. This has been an absolute shambles from the Millwall fans. They've waited so long to get back into stadiums, and this is how they behave. At the end of the day, like I say, they are showing support, fighting against racism. And for fans to be booing with that, it's just all a little bit ridiculous. And here's hoping that the fans have learned their lesson and will hopefully act right at Millwall's next game. Now we have our transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, Mario Balotelli has signed on a free transfer to Serie B side Monza. There are new concerns over Newcastle United. They're supposed to play West Brom at the weekend, but their training ground has been closed again, and it's looking like the COVID numbers are in double digits for the club. Benfica striker Darwin Núñez is being monitored closely by Barcelona, and speaking of Barcelona, it is a big night in the Champions League as they play Juventus at the Nou Camp, and there are also quite a few important games in the Champions League, such as Real Madrid playing Gladbach, and of course that group of death as Leipzig play Manchester United and PSG play Istanbul Besiktas. So that's everything for today's Daily News. Make sure you check out all the content we've got here at the channel, and until next time, I will see you guys later.